Hi babes, how are you? My name is Moran. Welcome to my series Getting Personal, where I gather insane stories from Reddit, and today we are gathered here to read some of those super weird stories that I find. And the theme today basically is just weirder and weirder, so like very strange things happening. Without further ado, let's dive in. So the first story I have for you today is, am I the asshole for refusing to let my roommate's cat into my room after it apologized? I, 27 female, share an apartment with my roommate, Lily, 26 female, who has a cat named Muffin. Muffin is adorable, but has a habit of sneaking into my room and knocking things over. Last week, I came home to find Muffin had somehow gotten in and destroyed a puzzle I had spent hours working on. Pieces were scattered everywhere. Some were chewed up, and one was lost entirely. I was furious. I told Lily that Muffin needed to stay out of my room, and she agreed. But she also said Muffin felt bad and wanted to apologize. I laughed it off, assuming she was joking. The next day, I found a little note on my desk written in Lily's handwriting that said, "I'm sorry, Muffin." Along with it was a cat treat. I thought it was funny, but didn't change my stance. Since then, Lily has been passive-aggressively saying things like, "Muffin's just trying to make things right," or "You're holding a grudge against a cat." She even suggested that I let Muffin into my room supervised so she can earn back my trust. I told her no, and that I wasn't interested in giving her cat another chance to destroy my stuff. Now she's calling me heartless for not accepting Muffin's apology and is acting like I'm being unreasonable. Am I the asshole here? No, and I feel like cats and generally pet owners like that give other pet owners a bad name, because there is, loving your pet a lot and even being childish with them and a little bit much, and then there's this. I mean, the cat is not gonna greatly suffer and remember how one day it tragically got refused access to another room. I mean, they like to go around the apartment and to have their territory like fully accessible, but if the cat is destroying the stuff and it's not your cat, then you're fully in the right to be like, you know what, not in my room. And it's fine. And her insistence on, you changing your mind is just very inconsiderate of you. So, she's more considerate of her cat and the cat's wishes than of yours, which is super weird in this specific case. So the top comment here is, find a new letter from Muffin in which she denounces the previous letter as fake, boasts over her lack of remorse, and vows to do it again. Confront Lily with it. Lily persists, keep finding increasingly sketchy letters from Muffin as she steadily broadens her nefarious ambitions. Really commit to the scenario. Out crazy cat person her. Obviously not the asshole. I love cats, but they are unapologetic little gremlins that do what they want. If you don't want Muffin in your room, then there is zero valid reason for Lily to keep demanding she have access to it. That said, you could have a lot of fun with this if you wanted to. The plan of revenge or response is about as wild as the situation itself, so I will support that. Yeah, find some letters, have fun with it. And we are moving on to the next story, which is, today I up by telling my crush I'm going to his eyes into place. For months, I, 29 male, have orbited a guy, 28 male, with the hope of getting to date him if the stars align. It hasn't been possible because he's been in a relationship with another guy, but the two recently broke up, so I finally got to come clean about my feelings. He pulled away for about a month because he said he wasn't ready for a rebound, but he called me up last week and we've been going out since then. Today, he called in sick and kept lamenting all day over text about being bedridden, so when I got off work, I went over to his place grabbing food on the way. At his place, we ate in bed watching Netflix on his laptop. After a while, I initiated sex and he actually reciprocated. But then I guess I got carried away because I said something to the effect that I was about to his eyes back into place, referencing his crossed eyes. One of his eyes points slightly outward. I actually find that very endearing. I was on top of him and he had been caressing my back up until that point, but he immediately stopped when I said that. He asked, "Why would you say that?" And that's when I knew I up. Needless to say, I did not get sex. I have zero comments on this, apart from the fact that this is fucked up. This is one of those things that is probably an insecurity for him, which it shouldn't be, but unfortunately for a lot of people it is. And you literally probably referenced his biggest insecurity in the most twisted way possible. So yeah, who even says that? Let's just move on to something lighter. And this one is today by comparing my girlfriend to Buckbeak from Harry Potter. I will start this post by saying my girlfriend has the most beautiful gold color eyes. I walked in the door today and just stared at her and tried to come up with a new way to admire her beauty. And what I came up with was, "You have eyes like a hippogriff." And she just looked at me with confusion. The words that came out of her mouth were unexpected. What the I instantly realized I made a mistake. I first thought that maybe there was a misunderstanding, that she did not know about hippogriffs. The next thing I said was, "You know, Buckbeak from Harry Potter, the magical creature." This did not seem to make things any better. She proceeded to hit me with things that were laying around her on the bed. Well, I'm not a fan of the hitting. You shouldn't hit your partner in any case, but maybe if it was jokingly, though it doesn't sound like it. Not great, but I mean, I would have laughed for like a week straight if my boyfriend said that to me. It's just adorable. Moving on to the next story, which is, am I overreacting? My ex texted me this on my way home from work yesterday. I can't make this up. I got off work at 5, went and got gas, and stopped at the car wash that's on my way home. I work an hour away from my house, so the wash is 30 minutes from work, 30 minutes from my house. My city is so small we don't even have a car wash, and the closest city with a car wash just so happens to be the one my ex lives in. As far as I knew, we didn't end on bad terms. About 2 years ago, I found out my mom had cancer. I know I said over a year in the text. I was so livid I couldn't remember exactly. And I tried to call him and got ghosted on every text/call. Since then, I just forgot about him, moved on, started a new relationship that I've been in for about a year and a half now, started a new job, and just have been doing my own thing. Whole situation is just bonkers. LMAO. So, the texts. "You need to stop showing up in my city." "I'm sorry, who is this?" Then he goes with his name, and she goes, "Oh wow. Wow? Yeah, wow. I'm not showing up in your city. LMAO. And he goes, "Stop playing dumb. I just saw you not even 20 minutes ago at the car wash by my house." She goes in all caps, "We live 30 minutes from each other. That's the closest car wash to my house. You're delusional." Lol. "I'm delusional, but you were texting me asking what happened to us, and now all of a sudden I'm seeing you in my city. I texted you over a year ago because I found out my mom had cancer and you ghosted me out of nowhere. I had no friends because you isolated me from them, so I turned to the one person I did have, or at least thought I could confide in. Is this some kind of sick joke? Do you really think my world revolves around you entirely? I never said your world revolved around me. I said you needed to stop coming around my house. It's not healthy." And then a bit later, "Why aren't you responding to me?" Because this conversation is literally making me lose my brain cells, and I don't think it's worth my time. I forgot about you a long time ago. I literally went to a car wash on my way home from work. Are you actually that dense? There is nothing for us to even talk about. You just want everything to be about you so badly that you can't fathom any other possibility. It's insane. Please seek help. Go to therapy, talk to your girlfriend, I don't know, just leave me alone. Yeah, this is nuts. It sounds like a dude who saw her, then remembered about this like ex that he had, and he was like, okay, so this is a very good opportunity to slither back in and kind of just start I don't know, maybe he was bored, or, well, maybe he's just that narcissistic that he thinks she literally, like, came to his city to stalk him or something. But this is gold, pure gold. And I absolutely loved how he slithered back in and he was like, "Oh my god, you're obsessed with me. Stop coming to my city." And then when she just started ignoring him, he's like, "Why aren't you responding to me?" He's like, "I'm not done starting yet. I'm not done bothering you." So that's hilarious. And we're moving on to the next story, which is, today I by asking my girlfriend to be more vocal in bed. So this is a pretty simple today up that happened years ago, but it still lives in my head rent-free. I was in college and dating this girl who was a little more on the introverted slash shy side. We had good sexual chemistry, but she tended to be very quiet during sex. I, like most people, like it when my partner lets me know they're feeling good, so I started to ask her to be more vocal during sex. At one point, this conversation took place. Me, I would really like it if you let me know when I'm making you come. Her, what am I supposed to say? Me, I don't know, whatever comes to mind. I'll just enjoy you letting me know when it's happening. Fast forward to the next time we're doing the deed. She's being very quiet, but I can tell she's getting close. I can see her getting wound tighter, but getting ready to say something. I'm very much appreciating that she's about to do what I asked, and then she says it. Bombs away. All heat of the moment was entirely lost on me as the intense romantic immersion was shattered. Afterwards, when I asked her to please never say it that way again, she obviously replied, "Well, you said I could say anything." We eventually broke up for, believe it or not, overall communication issues in the relationship. I admire the girl for her imagination because I couldn't have come up with that, honestly. And the top comment here is, "And boom goes the dynamite." I don't know about y'all, but I really do love me some awkward sex stories, and this one just kind of satisfied that itch for me. And with that said, let's move to the next one. I've angered a family of ravens. How do I appease them? A few months ago, I brought my kid to work and he shooed away ravens and they weren't happy, but no on my car. A few weeks later, I drove a little aggressively, trying to get a dozen of them to move. They were walking around a dead raven. Ever since then, they exclusively have on my car. I've parked different places around the workplace's parking lot, and it's only when I don't use my car that I don't get bird poop on. Other cars don't get on. How do I get them to stop doing it? It's been over a month. Well, obviously, you have to start feeding them and trying to make it up to them. Try to be friendly, don't shoo them away, try to approach them, but like very slowly, because ravens are super smart and vengeful, and yeah, you've pissed them off. You probably interrupted the funeral for their friend, so very not cool. Also, teach your kids not to harass animals and birds, because that's just behavior, and I know kids don't do that out of maliciousness. They're curious and stuff, but please do teach them not to around with other living creatures, because those living creatures also deserve, respect at least, and some normal treatment. The top comment here is, "You interrupted the service for the fallen raven. They don't respect you at all. They're gonna hold that against you for generations." And let's see the last weird slash messed up story that I have for you today, which is, today I accidentally became the villain in my neighbor's family drama. I'm not proud of what happened, but I figured I'd share because it's too wild to keep to myself. So I, 30 female, live in a nice quiet neighborhood, and everything was great until my new neighbor moved in. Let's call him Tom. Tom seemed like a perfectly nice guy. Maybe a little too quiet, but that's no red flag, right? Everything was normal for the first few weeks. I'd wave hello and we'd have small talk about the weather or the occasional DIY project. Then, one day, Tom asked if he could borrow my ladder. His fence had fallen down and he needed to fix it. No big deal, I thought, so I let him borrow it, and that was that. Fast forward a few days and Tom starts acting a little off. He becomes increasingly distant when I wave, and I can sense a weird tension in the air. I thought it was just me overthinking things until one night I get a knock on my door. It's Tom, but he's not alone. He's with his wife and she looks livid. She says, "I need to talk to you about the ladder," in a way that made me feel like I was about to be accused of something. Turns out, Tom had been using that ladder for far more than just fixing his fence. He'd used it to sneak into his ex-wife's wife's house next door and patch things up. Apparently, Tom's ex had moved out after a messy divorce, and Tom had been pretending to borrow my ladder to secretly sneak into her house and work things out with her. The ladder was like his gateway to rekindling their old relationship. His wife was furious because she had no idea about this and had caught him red-handed. She blamed me for lending him the ladder in the first place, as if I knew he'd use it for that. In that moment, I realized I'd accidentally become the unintentional accomplice in a love triangle I never wanted to be a part of. Tom's wife ended up giving him an ultimatum and he moved out a week later. But now, every time I see him, he looks at me like I'm the one who ruined his life. Moral of the story, never lend out your ladder and never trust a guy who can't fix his own fence. Oh, I wish that was a moral of the story because this is just super funny. Unfathomable how they would blame you for any of this. But on the other hand, people tend to do this when like something goes wrong and they either don't want to acknowledge their emotions or just are struggling with that, they will place the blame on literally anything and anyone. I don't know, Mercury in retrograde, that one neighbor that lives 10 houses over, anyone but themselves or the person they should be mad at. Also, a very curious situation. His ex-wife moved out, but like next door? How did they think that would work well? It kind of seems like some kind of a romanticized version of making up, because I'm pretty sure he could have snuck in without the letter, but he's like, oh my god, I'm such a Romeo, let me try this. The top comment here is how either one of them could place any of the blame on you is beyond me, but I guess it's easier than facing their show of a lifestyle. I hope they will come to it at some point. I mean, eventually you have to start thinking about what went wrong and what you did and what your husband did or ex-wife or whatever, then blaming it on the neighbor with the ladder. That's nuts. This was the last story I had for you today, and I am so sorry I keep disappearing for weeks. The episodes are shorter, but I'm doing my absolute best. My life is a little bit unstable now. I'm trying to figure out where to live next, what to do. Everything is in chaos. So as soon as I find like a spare hour to do this for you, I'm doing it. And please just be patient, okay? I will be back on like semi-regular schedule in the next few months. And meanwhile, I'm gonna try to make as many episodes for you as I can. So sorry, but life is life. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you thought or maybe what you want to see in the future. I will see y'all hopefully soon. Bye.